This is TWiT.
Locast has given up. And there are a lot. Do you guys know about Locast? Yeah? You've heard of it? Yeah. Locast was actually kind of like Aereo. Remember Aereo? That was the New York City startup that put dime-sized antennas in giant arrays and then let you, in effect, use that antenna to get local live television stations.
I was a paying subscriber.
Were you? Well,
yeah,
of course.
Absolutely. It was innovative.
The first thing that happened was the networks and broadcast stations sued. To their credit, Aereo fought it all the way up to the Supreme Court where they lost. I actually don't remember what why SCOTUS said Aereo was illegal.
Maybe because they were charging.
Well, no, and that's what happened with Locast.
Locast, yeah, wasn't charging.
Let me see. The Supreme Court broadcasters sued Aereo within weeks of its introduction, arguing that streaming their content without permission was copyright infringement. That was how they do it. The Supreme Court heard arguments in April and ruled against Aereo June 2014, I think. Yeah. I can go on and on. I don't want to read all this because it's not germane. What happened was Locast said, okay, how can we do this without falling prey to the same lawsuits? And they said, we're going to be a nonprofit. So the copyright rule says as long as you don't make money on it, it's okay, right? I guess.
No, it doesn't. Copyright doesn't require it.
There's some nonprofit
loophole. Any YouTuber who uses
I guess not. You're right. They're still protected, isn't it? Yeah. Well, somehow they felt like if we don't make any money, we're protected. A judge ruled this week that, well, that's not the problem. The problem is you are a nonprofit, but you take the proceeds. So the way Locast worked, it's free, locast.org. It would only work in the same ADI, area of dominant influence, of the stations you want to watch. So I'm in the Bay Area. I get San Francisco stations. Nobody from Chicago could see those, but people in Chicago would see the Chicago stations. And what Aereo was doing was and then they put a little announcement saying, Aereo is nonprofit, but support us for $5 and we won't bother you with these ads asking you to support us. And they did it quite frequently, every few minutes. And I know a lot of people, a lot of cord cutters who said, this is great, $5 a month, $60 a year. I get the live locals. It lets me cord cut because I don't need the cable anymore. I could just get internet and watch Netflix, Amazon Prime, but I get my live locals so I can watch football, the Academy Awards, that kind of stuff.
Local news.
Local news. That's a big thing. That's the gap with cord cutting, is that live local stuff. If you're not close enough, if you don't have an antenna or you're not close enough to get via an antenna, the TV stations.
And here's what I don't understand. Anybody can sell an antenna, right? You can go out and buy an antenna. They're perfectly legal. How is Locust really any different than an antenna if it essentially gives you the same content that the antenna would?
Well, that's the argument a lot of cord cutters use. But here's why Aereo got shut down and why Locast got shut down as well. So they got sued by the broadcast stations, and the judge ruled, look, because it's good, you're nonprofit, good start, except you're taking the proceeds and using it to expand in new markets. That's not allowed. Locast could, of course, appeal, and they could even do what Aereo did and go all the way to the Supreme Court and they said, oh, screw it, and they have stopped operating. Yeah. So they were really, I think they were designed to get around this thing, but the judge said no. So here's the argument, I think. And this goes back to, are you a customer or are you a product? If you're listening to TWiT, for instance, right now, you could be you could either be both. If you're listening and you're hearing the ads, then in effect you're the product. We make money by selling your ears to the advertisers. That's how we survive. And that's how broadcast television, broadcast radio survive. If you decide you want to join Club TWiT, pay $7 a month, we say, fine, now you can be the customer. You pay us, we don't need to put ads in. So we give you the choice. Broadcast television discovered that they could do both, and that's what happened. When this goes back to the cable companies and retransmission agreements and the must-carry rules. Initially, cable companies were created so that you could watch the locals, right? I live in Petaluma. I'm too far from San Francisco to use an antenna. Comcast comes along, put up a big antenna. They can get the channels, digs a ditch to my house, puts copper into my house and says, here, now you can watch from our antenna, pay us. The broadcast station said, whoa, wait a minute. FCC jumps in and says, all right, you got a choice, broadcasters. You can either require that they carry you, and then you can't charge them. Or, and most broadcasters chose the second choice, you can say, we want retransmission fees. Comcast, you can broadcast Channel 4, but you got to give us a fee, $1 or less, usually per subscriber. Those fees vary. And so most stations now are double dipping. They get the ad revenue. In fact, they love it because I'm seeing the ads here in Petaluma too. But they also get the revenue from the cable companies. You're both a product and the customer. The problem with Aereo and the problem, in my opinion, with Locast is you're cutting off all these lucrative cable fees. People no longer need to watch on cable. And I think that was why they ultimately sued.
Yeah. But you are increasing your audience, which means you could theoretically be getting more advertising revenue.
Well, guess. I'm going to guess. You should ask CBS, but I'm going to guess that they want both.
Well, we have CBSN on CBS News.
You stream.
And we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't charge for that. It's a free product, so it avoids exactly that. And we are moving into local markets. Sorry, I'm not trying to log roll for CBS or talk over Larry.
No, you have expertise in this area. That's perfect.
We have CBSN, which is 24 hours a day streaming news. It's hard news. There's no opinions. And we are launching these in different markets like Denver, New York, San Francisco. And exactly to your point, Leo, this is not a for-pay product. This is a local news product, but it is the traditional model where the viewer is the product being sold to advertisers, which I think most of us are familiar with and fairly comfortable with. And I don't work on the business side. I can't speak for our strategic plans, but I know when this was rolled out, this was considered a benefit that we're not charging our customers and we're not double dipping here, or we're not charging the viewers.
Locast has, by the way, appealed to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. So they're not suspending forever, but they are suspended right now.
I did just buy a TV for the first time in my life. And I did get one of those bunny ear antennas. I'm like in the heart of New York, so I had no problem with it. And I installed it in particular so I could watch CBS. Thanks, guys. Watch it on Sundays, watch football for free. So I think that it's kind of interesting that I am able to do that just because I'm in service area. But if you're outside of service area, Leo might be, and you can't use Locast, because you might be costing these companies some money. It seems unfair.
I wonder if it wasn't for precedent for the fact that the antennas have been around for decades, if they would try to outlaw what you're doing, given the current situation. I mean, that's my point. I frankly still don't see the difference between your rabbit ears and a Locust subscription in terms of what it accomplishes.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%. And I think, the folks at Locast argue it's just greed on the part of the networks, the broadcast stations. They say they get a free license from the U.S. government to use those airwaves. But the retransmission consent fees, which are on the order of at least $12 a month, according to the New York Times, amount to billions of dollars for broadcasters. The founder and CEO, David Goodfriend of Locast, says Locast was always meant to be a public service for people who want to watch their local broadcast TV stations, can't get them over the air, can't afford expensive cable, satellite, or streaming services. Locast showed that millions of Americans fit that category. They deserve something better than the status quo. Locast says 3.2 million people signed up for the service. Does not know how many paid for it, but they did generate $4.3 million in revenue last year.
That's not nothing.
And that's still all legal, by the way. Nonprofits generate revenue all the time. Mm-hmm. The judge, Louis L. Stanton of the Southern District of New York, said that the issue is Locast was using the proceeds to expand its service to other cities a move that, in his view, ran afoul of the law. The copyright code, this is weird, but the copyright code allows nonprofits to solicit funds to defray the actual and reasonable costs of maintaining and operating the service, but the judge felt that expanding violated that. The networks called the ruling a victory for copyright law, vindicating our claim that Locast is illegally infringing copyrights in broadcast television content in violation of federal law. It's a very narrow... It does not vindicate copyright law. It's a very narrow slice there. And I think they would like to put Locast out of business. I think there are a lot of Locast users who are pretty unhappy, and there is no reasonable alternative. For a while, you could watch locals on Sling for $5 a month, and I was telling people to use that, but it turns out Sling was using Locast. So never mind. I don't know. What do you think? Who's right in this one? I'll let you recuse yourself, network guys, if you want to.
I'm no longer a CBS News employee, so I can say what's on my mind here. I contribute, but not employ. Look, I'm on Locast's side. I really just think, why make it the victim here is the consumer.
Agreed.
Is Comcast a victim? Maybe, but Comcast is a victim. I mean, the handwriting is on the wall, and of course, Comcast and their ilk are making a fortune in internet charges. I have the full Comcast double play, right? I've got TV and I've got internet. It turns out that the internet is the vast majority of what my monthly payments are. So even if I stop paying that little cable bump that they get, they would still be getting, over $100 a month from me for my high-speed internet. So I just think that enough is enough, and to make it harder for people to get stuff that they could get if they had a big enough antenna. Leo, I'm sure there's probably some technology.
If I had a 100-foot mast,
right? Exactly.
I could probably get the locals. Although if I go to TV Fool, it says no, you're not going to get anything but channel 50, which is up in Santa Rosa.
Well, but the point is that why should you not get broadcast TV just because you happen to be a few miles away?
But that's what created the cable business. That's really what started cable, right?
Too bad. They can make their money on the internet, and they make plenty of it on the internet.
They figured.
And by the way,
out.
Comcast is a Connect Safely supporter, so maybe I'm in trouble in that regard.
Shh. No, they're not. We didn't hear that. What? No. Dan, do you want to say anything? Do you? I mean, I understand broadcasters want to keep making those sweet cable dollars. I don't blame them.
And there's definitely nobody at my work telling me what to say.
No, I know.
I'm
just teasing, obviously.
I mean, for sure, I know, but some people might not know that. And,
yes. Right.
But I mean, look, when I was an Aereo or an Aero subscriber, I felt like at least what was sold to me was that this is a physical array. This is an actual transmitter, and you are renting time on it, or you're paying for that physical time. And I lived in Brooklyn. I live in Brooklyn. I've lived in New York for a long time. And sometimes you just cannot get a transmission signal in the middle of buildings. So it felt like, okay, I'm not ripping anyone off. And at the time I worked for a different news network. It did not feel as though, and I think the same about Locast, but I don't know the fundamentals of their business model.
Here, I found it. This is in U.S. Code Section 111 of the Copyright Code. It specifically talks about retransmission of broadcasts. Secondary retransmissions are exempt from copyright if it's not made by a cable system. It consists entirely of the relaying, this is why they did it, by the management of a hotel apartment house. That's why they did it, so that you could have an antenna for a hotel and all watch that. Or similar establishment of signals transmitted by a broadcast station licensed by the FCC within the local service area of such station, and as long as you don't make money at it. So this is an exemption that was carved out, I think, probably not for companies like Locast and Aereo, but for others, as it's not actionable if the primary transmission is made by this carriage signal. So the key is you can't make money at it.
But the hotel is making money.
Yeah,
off the room rent.
Yeah. Boy, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm going to have to defer to a lawyer on this one. Clearly,
I wonder,
Locast was trying to use this section of the law to justify it. And this judge, I think, is mistaken. I think they might win on appeal.
How much damage does it actually do to the networks if something like Locast is widely available? Because it will require people, you're not going to really get a lot of people signing up to Locast if they can use the antenna.
Right.
Like someone in a location like me. You're also not going to get a lot of people signing up to Locast if they have a cable subscription, someone like Leo. So what is the total addressable market for a service like this?
I have to think that it's the cable companies that really wanted the broadcast companies to sue. They don't have standing, so they had it. I wouldn't be surprised if,
they're nudging them.
Ryan Roberts called up and said, could you sue these guys? Because Leo, the only thing stopping Leo from getting rid of my cable subscription is I want those locals and I can't get them any other way. If I have Locast and I add Locast maybe to Netflix and Amazon Prime, all I need is an internet connection. I don't need the cable TV, right? So that's who's really at risk from this. And remember that the money does go downhill because the broadcasters get that money from Comcast.
The one fly in the ointment, though, from the standpoint of the networks, what if we were to go and buy the ExpressVPN product you were talking about earlier and tunnel ourselves into a market that we don't actually live in? The way I get to watch BBC, by the way, against all British law, by using a VPN.
You are a freeloader.
No, but I'm seriously, could one get if Locast still existed and I wanted to watch New York television, could I use a VPN to tunnel into New York?
Well, just like the BBC and iPlayer, they attempt to discover if you're using a VPN and block you. The issue is that many VPNs, are doing things to get around that, like changing IP addresses regularly, using clean pool and stuff like that. So I think it's not easy to know if you're coming in on a VPN, but they try. And I bet you, if Locast did a good faith effort, which I think they do, to block VPN traffic, that would be considered sufficient. You can't block everyone, but in theory, you're only watching if you're in local.